The title Duke of Buckingham has been held by several influential figures in English history, but perhaps the most notable bearer of this title was George Villiers, 1st Duke of Buckingham, 1592 to 1628. Rising from relative obscurity to become the favourite of King James I, Villiers wielded immense power and influence, shaping the political landscape of early Stuart England. His close relationship with James I, often described as an intense favoritism, allowed him to dominate the court and government. Born in 1592 to a minor noble family in Leicestershire, George Villiers had an unremarkable early life. However, his striking physical appearance and charisma caught the attention of influential courtiers who sought to introduce him to King James I. In 1614, Villiers was brought to court, where he quickly captivated the king, who had a known penchant for handsome and charming young men. His rise was meteoric. Within just a few years, he advanced from gentleman of the bedchamber to earl, and by 1623 he was created Duke of Buckingham, the highest non-royal rank in England. Villiers' ascent to power was facilitated by his ability to ingratiate himself with James I. The king, who had previously favoured Robert Carr, Earl of Somerset, soon transferred his affections to Villiers. This favouritism was not merely a matter of courtly intrigue, but had profound political implications. James I relied heavily on Buckingham for advice, governance, and even companionship, granting him extensive control over patronage and political appointments. The relationship between James I and Buckingham has been the subject of much historical speculation. Many contemporary observers noted the intensity of the king's affection for Villiers, with some suggesting that it went beyond mere favoritism and bordered on romantic or even sexual attachment. James's own letters to Buckingham contain language that modern readers might interpret as deeply intimate. In one letter, James refers to Buckingham as his sweet child and wife, phrasing that suggests an emotional, if not physical, closeness. Regardless of the precise nature of their relationship, there is no doubt that James I saw Buckingham as indispensable. He showered him with wealth, titles, and authority, making him the most powerful man in England after the king himself. Buckingham, in turn, demonstrated unwavering loyalty to James, serving as his confidant and enforcer in matters of state. With James I's backing, Buckingham became the dominant figure in English politics. He played a crucial role in foreign and domestic affairs, particularly in shaping England's foreign policy. His influence was evident in the negotiations surrounding the Spanish match, an attempt to arrange a marriage between Prince Charles, later Charles I, and the Spanish Infanta. The endeavour ultimately failed, but it highlighted Buckingham's deep involvement in diplomacy. Moreover, Buckingham held considerable sway over military matters. He orchestrated England's intervention in the 30 Years' War and later led failed military expeditions, including the disastrous Cadiz expedition of 1625. These failures, coupled with his monopolization of power, made him deeply unpopular among both Parliament and the public. As Buckingham accumulated power, his unpopularity grew. Many in Parliament resented his dominance and his influence over the king, his control over appointments, and his tendency to enrich his allies at the expense of the nobility and political elite led to accusations of corruption. Parliament repeatedly sought to curb his influence, leading to significant tensions between the monarchy and the legislature. James I, however, remained steadfast in his support of Buckingham, defending him against critics and dismissing efforts to remove him from power. This unwavering loyalty strained relations between the king and Parliament, setting a precedent for the struggles that would later characterize Charles I's reign. James I's death in 1625 marked a turning point for Buckingham. His close relationship with the new king, Charles I, allowed him to retain his influence, but his political position was far more precarious. Unlike James I, who indulged and protected Buckingham, Charles faced growing resistance from Parliament, which saw Buckingham as a dangerous and incompetent advisor. Buckingham's continued failures in foreign policy, particularly his mismanagement of military campaigns against Spain and France, further eroded his standing. By 1628, his enemies had amassed enough opposition to seriously threaten him. On August 23, 1628, Buckingham was assassinated by John Felton, a disgruntled former soldier who blamed him for England's military failures. His death was met with public celebration, reflecting the extent of his unpopularity. Despite his dramatic rise and fall, Buckingham's legacy endures as a cautionary tale of courtly favoritism and unchecked power. His relationship with James I shaped early Stuart politics, demonstrating the potential dangers of personal favoritism, influencing national governance. While his influence undoubtedly brought stability to James's later reign, it also sowed the seeds of discontent that would later contribute to the English Civil War. The favoritism shown by James I toward Buckingham also had a significant impact on the perception of the Stuart monarchy. James's overt preference for Villiers, along with his reluctance to heed parliamentary concerns, reinforced fears of royal absolutism. The favoritism damaged James's credibility, making it harder for the monarchy to work effectively with Parliament. This dynamic would later manifest in Charles I's reign, contributing to the breakdown of trust between the monarchy and the people. Additionally, Buckingham's extravagant lifestyle and accumulation of wealth and power at the expense of others fueled public outrage. His unchecked authority exemplified the corruption that many believed plagued James I's court. The failure of military expeditions under his command not only diminished England's international standing, but also drained national resources, exacerbating financial instability. Moreover, the relationship between Buckingham and James I offers insights into the broader issue of favoritism in monarchy-led governance. The concept of royal favourites was not unique to Buckingham, but his case stands out for the sheer extent of his influence. His rapid rise and dramatic fall underscore the precarious nature of courtly power, where favour could bring immense authority, but also intense resentment. The life of George Villiers, 1st Duke of Buckingham, was one of extraordinary ambition, influence and controversy. His close relationship with James I allowed him to ascend to unparalleled heights of power, but it also made him a target of widespread resentment. While James I's favour shielded him during his lifetime, Buckingham's unchecked authority ultimately led to his downfall. His story serves as a compelling example of how personal relationships can shape political history, for better or worse. Furthermore, the ramifications of his dominance set in motion political conflicts that would later escalate into the English Civil War, proving that individual favoritism could have lasting consequences for a nation.